Welcome back, guys. We are trying to revamp a wedge slippers or a wedge shoe today. So what I'm doing, I'm peeling off everything, removing the worn out material, removing the sole, just moving basically everything to start over again. So first thing first, we are trying to get the wedge cover, like we're trying to cover this wedge that you are seeing. So you are placing it on the material of your choice, then you are adding allowance as seen in the video. Yes, so you will just turn it over and do same. But if you don't want to turn yours over, you can just do the first part. That's the first part that you placed on it, then cut it. Now I turned my own over because I needed enough space for what I needed to achieve. But I think it really took most of our material, and I will not try this next time. Yeah, so I had already applied gum on the leather. I applied gum on the wedge. So what we're doing here is we are just placing the leather on the wedge because it is dried. So you will just go easy on the wedge, because if you keep pulling and adjusting, the gum becomes so sticky on the leather, and after you are done, the gum parts appears on your material and you will not like it. So what I am doing here is, at the end of your foot, you are marking where you will cut. So I am actually dividing the leather here for easy turning. So for beginners, this one you will love to do because it will not be so hard for you to turn, because in turning wedge, in turning heels, that there are little dynamics, but if you get used to it, it will not be so difficult for you to. But for beginners, this you'll find this very useful, easy and helpful. So I just did on the other side as I did earlier. On this first side, you are just placing it, then whichever part that is over pulling out, because you don't want to get so many pleating when making your wedge or when placing your lining or whatsoever. So I'm just doing the same thing like I did in the first one, but here I will make sure I will make sure the line that I cut earlier shows me, like when you use your hand to just make sure you see the line you had done earlier, then you make sure you cut the other leather on it, so that you will not have any boundary or any space showing. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to explain, but I am hopeful you do, guys. I'm hopeful you do. So this is an idea of what I am trying to explain. So if you get to see any excess, you just cut it out, and we are done with the back part. Now for the front part, it looks like two and two, 1.5. So I just measured two, but some parts were not enough, but it's okay. I can still manage with what I got. So this is it. You just place it all around. After applying your gum as usual and allowing it to dry, you just place it, and then you bend it. Now when you are folding and the leather is not so much, it's easier. Please don't make your leather suffer like mine, because mine was not enough, and after wasting so much material, the black leather finished, so there was nothing I could do. But I can still pull through with this one though. So just make sure the leather is enough for what you are trying to achieve. So guys, I'm done with covering the wedge area. What we are doing here is we are pulling the insole, pulling the material, because that's exactly what we will use. So this is the front part. I just added little allowance to it because the foot, the insole, the ready-made insole they used was a very light one. So she insisted that I make it thicker because she has a little weight. So I had to add Marco 4 and the fiber. You guys know how we do that. There is a tutorial on that. So I just cut this one out. Then I did same for the other leg. You know, it's not dress you're making now, so you need to just remember for the other leg. So because this one came with a pattern, I had to look for a pattern that looks like what I had cut out, then I just did that same thing for the other side of the leg. Then I cut it out. So I had already applied the gum on this part, on the front part, and on the marco that we are using, and see how it came out. So what you are doing is you are just placing it on your marco, and you start pleating it carefully. Make sure the pleated part doesn't show on your marco so that your work will look neat as possible. So you just gradually drag and pleat till you've arrived at your desired pattern, or desired the way you want it to be. Now this side I actually measured like 1 inch, and I'm just bending it into the other side of your insole. That's, you will just keep bending it. You place the marco and the fiber right in the middle of the 1 inch leather you had drawn out. Then you will start bending it. When you are cutting the length, make sure the length is according to the length you are measuring, so that you will not have too much excesses. So for the insock, this is what we are using. That is the insock that came with it. That's the inner part that came with it. So I'm just drawing it out again. So I really didn't have so much pattern to draw this time around. So what I did, I just used my scissors and zigzag scissors to cut it out, to just beautify it. Yes, to just give it a lighter look, not like different from what she gave me to do. And this is what we arrived at. Oh, it's already looking so nice and beautiful. So guys, what I did here, I applied gum, and remember, at our big finger is 2, while from the small finger is 2.5. Then at the end part, you are just simply placing it, so there's no much consideration on that end part. So we're just sticking our pattern through to the measured part that we had done, and we are basically done in lasting. Now you can last this with your feet, like, yes, if it's you, yes, you can last this with. So I fired and I applied the gum where needed. That's on the heel part, that's the sole itself, and the pattern and the lasting and all, because we are basically done with our slippers. If you see any opening after hitting with your hammer, don't forget to use Aradite. It will save you a lot of stress. And that's it, guys. Thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing. See you in my next class and tutorial. Bye guys, can't wait to see you. Bye. And please don't forget, I am always open for questions. I am always open for questions. See you guys. Bye.